So next year, we did this survey of rising 7th graders, and almost unanimously, so many of the kids wanted STEM. And you know, for the grown-ups involved, and as we evolve our own practice, we all know that STEM is really everything. It's everything that you learn, right? It's all infused together. And so, we don't want, and I don't, it's a small enough school that I don't think it's appropriate that kids should be choosing something and then they would have to have a second choice. What would that be like? This is Brooklyn School of Inquiry, right? So we have decided that we want 5th graders to have science 5 times a week and 6th graders to have science 5 times a week. So the science teacher is one teacher that we've been doing a lot of demo lessons and we haven't really found anyone we're totally head over heels with yet. There's someone very promising coming in Thursday, so we'll see what happens. So, and we will continue to look until we find someone that we are head over heels, you know, for, because it's really important, right, for a variety of reasons. But the rest of and what we'd like to do then, based on the interest survey that we took with this year's 6th graders, we learned so many of the students want to have a school newspaper. So many of them want to have, want to be doing more media literacy and technology. So we're adding 2 concentrations to the docket for 7th graders. So all kids will have 5 periods of science, and then there will be documentary filmmaking, journalism, performing arts, and fine arts as concentrations. And in those classes that'll meet twice a week, the teachers will really be helping the 7th graders and supporting them to create their high school portfolio, right? And we've already got, many of you were at the high school search meeting that Joyce Shuflita offered earlier this month, and I said then, and we've already got the spreadsheet set up and with a lot of requirements for the special arts schools and other high schools in New York City. So very much 7th graders need support and scaffolding at school to be able to create those portfolios. If you've ever taken a student on a high school interview and watched their face drop, the kids in the room who haven't had that kind of support at school, when the kids who have had that kind of support come in, it's a real game changer. Asha, do you have a question, baby?
Yeah, for the science thing, are the 6th graders going to have the site?
Well, you know what? Miss Seitz is not a 6th grade science teacher.
So which grade is she going to be teaching?
She's probably not going to teach 6th grade. There's probably going to be a new science teacher who's going to teach 6th and 7th, because the older grades require a different kind of license.
Okay.
All right. I know everyone loves Miss Seitz, and I think Miss Seitz will be doing something. One of the other things we'd really like to do next year is to create some lunchtime clinics for the 5th, 6th, and 7th grade students, because while the kids do have permission, a lot of them, to go outside at lunch, once the novelty wears off with that, there's not a lot happening out there, especially on those winter days when it's really freezing. It's sort of hilarious stuff. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I can't get my 16-year-old out of the house when it's 20 degrees out. And these 6th graders are chafing at the bit to go out and settle a coffee and freeze and eat their sandwich. But what we'd like to do is offer activities at school during lunch and recess. And so that's something that we very much are hoping to do, to have Spanish lunchtime clinic, library, journalism, filmmaking. Yes?
You know, it was very interesting when I visited, what is the other thing it's called? No, the other one. When I visited Nest, that was in the winter. They were giving some sort of sessions, and I went there. So I saw kids, 7, 6, maybe 8th graders. It was cold outside, so they brought the ping pong tables on the wheels, and they play in the cafeteria.
Nice.
And I think that's a nice way to spend the time.
Such a great idea.
So I was wondering whether the space in the cafeteria maybe is available at during recess, or
I'm
can you find
sure
another-
there's space we can find, and we do have 2 ping pong tables. And so what happens with the lunchtime clinics is, you know, and I know that I met with the PTO this evening and we went over some numbers for next year. It's all very doable. But if you run a lunchtime clinic 5 days a week, it's got more or less a $9,000 a year price tag on it. So we can run as many as we like, as many as we can afford. But that's not something that I would ever have funding for. That would be something that would come out of the PTO funds. So we'd love to do that. I'm a big ping pong fan. Yeah. I'm trying to think of what I did. Oh, and the other thing, of course, as you know, we'll continue with mixed arts. Now, the reason why we do not have mixed arts as part of the concentration is because of band. How many kids are in the band? 55? 55, and most of those are all upper grade kids. There's nobody, they're all 4th and 5th and 6th graders. And next year they'll be up to 7th. So this is an upper grade initiative, and we don't want to butt it up against mixed arts because we don't want the kids to have to choose between being in journalism, being in filmmaking, being in the drama production, or being in fine arts. It's not a choice that we feel they need to make. In fact, there are many high schools in New York City where you don't have to make that choice. I mean, there are many where you do, right? We were talking about that today, Marissa, where you actually have to, many high schools have a variety of programs inside the high school that you would have to apply to. But then there are those high schools that are really generalist high schools. Like, my son got into LaGuardia and he got into Beacon. And I really thought he was going to go to LaGuardia. I thought, oh, you know, a lot of his friends were going. And he said, Mom, I don't want to go to LaGuardia. And I said, oh my goodness, why don't you want to go to LaGuardia? And he said, because I have to only decide one thing. If I go to Beacon, I can be on the Ultimate Frisbee team. I can be in fine arts and be a teacher. I can be in the jazz band. I can go to dance and be in dance if I want, but if I go to LaGuardia, I can only do one of those things. So, always what we want to do for the students is we want to keep that bandwidth as wide as we can, right? We want them to be able to have all the choices that they can have. And so that's what next year will look like for 6th and 7th grade. And 4th grade will look very much like 5th grade looked this year. And I know there are a lot of 5th grade parents here right now, where there will be, Siobhan will teach math, Christy will teach humanities, they'll have homeroom, they'll have a science teacher that they'll see quite a bit. This year, one of the things we felt though is that we felt like the kids did not have enough humanities time. And so they're going to have 10 periods of humanities a week next year, just to give them a little bit of extra time, because there's so much that gets couched into that time between reading, and writing, and social studies. So that's one change we will make. But I think that's generally what's going on, and I wonder if you all have questions about it. Yeah,
Well, I have a point and a question. First, I want to say that I think we're using a lot of kids on science because of the science. And for you 5th grade parents, I would definitely go on that heat trip that we had this year as 6th graders. It is just the most awesome thing, and she was so incredible. So, the conservation.
But we may not even have that trip if Miss Sykes is not teaching 6th grade.
It was just awesome. And the kids learned so much on that trip, but she was with them all the way, 5:30 in the morning, which is incredible.
she is incredible.
So I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of them tips that way. And the other thing I want to ask about these lunchtime clinics, if let's say, how would they work? Would the kids pick one for the year, or would they cycle like every few months?
I think they're going to be drop-ins. You know, when you're here at school, like one of the things that happens when you're in the 6th grade and you have a group assignment and we're dispersed all over the borough and then some, you have a group project and, you know, yes, you can Skype one another, but it's just not always possible for you to work with your group. Wouldn't it be nice for the kids to say, come on, let's go down to the library and work on this group project here. Or let's go up and see if we can learn some new chess moves from whoever could be the chess clinic person. And if you're here during the day, you know, kids' time is very structured. And so they have a very prescribed docket that they follow, a program that they follow all day long. And then when lunchtime comes, they would like that choice. And if there are enough choices, there's no reason to have to lock and load. Now, if we find that we're running a lunchtime club and 45 people want to go every day, maybe we'll say, okay, you can only go twice a week, so somebody, you know, we'll manage into that. But we'd like to keep it a little bit free to allow for some agency for kids to, you know, to foster that independence so that they can make those decisions and decide with their friends. And it is that free time, right? And so you kind of want to honor that, right? Lunch should be a fun time. And I think that there are other activities that could go on. You know, one of the things that helped us decide that we needed filmmaking, documentary filmmaking and journalism, is that we put together a survey, and the survey results were amazing. Like 29 kids wanted, I mean, that's like half the 6th grade. So somebody said, I was talking to somebody today, I don't know if it was on the SLT or just a parent meeting in my office, but somebody was asking what we're going to offer for CHAMPS next year. And you know, it's what we offer is basically what the kids want.